Good morning, everybody. Good to see you here. Thank you, Jan, for the introduction. So as you heard Jan describe the history and the customs, some of the history and the customs of Day of the Dead, what's important to remember is that it's a day of celebration. It's a festive day. It's a happy day. It's a day to remember and to feel good about the ones that you're remembering. One of the ways that I think about the people that I remember is the people that made my life better because I knew them. People who taught me things and showed me how to be in this world. People that did little things, but the little things are what really, really count. And although I do focus on my close family and close friends that have passed on, I remember two others that have been in my life that have made a contribution to my life, and that I want to remember them. I want to keep them in my thoughts and think about how they were in this world and how that affected me. Because just as I'm honoring my friends and family and others, then someday I hope that somebody else is going to be remembering me. And I want them to remember me for the way that I made them feel, for the way that I was able to maybe teach them something, made them curious about something. So So I think about who are these people, what did they give me, and how do I want to be remembered? I'll start off with someone that I didn't have the best relationship with, and that was my father. We had I would say, strained relationship. But when I think about who I am and how I've been able to be in the world, I have to admit that I'm very grateful to him, because I never worried about whether or not I was going to have food on the table, whether I was going to have clothes to wear, whether I was going to have a house to enjoy and give me shelter. None of those things ever, were questions in my mind, because he was a good provider. And he did that in spite of the fact that he lost his mother when he was only 8, and he had an alcoholic father. So that didn't leave a great combination, to have to grow up with. But he got through that, and he became the man that he was, that provided for my family, in spite of the other demons that might have been going on with him. So I appreciate who he was. And I'm glad that I have been able to come to that place where I can remember and honor, because there were times when I could not do that. So I feel like I'm growing up a little bit, but don't tell anybody that. So my father, I think, also gave me some of that itch to play in the dirt. He grew up on a farm, and he always had a garden. It could be a variety of things, but then, of course, as he got older, it was, smaller things, but still we were out there playing in the dirt, and I think I kind of learned some of my love of that from him. Before I became an adult, which I think is still out for debate, but I thought that my mother was a martyr. I mean, that was the word that I gave to my mother because I saw her, from my perspective, what I saw was her sacrificing for the family. She cooked all of our meals, the healthy Southern meals, and she kept an immaculate house. It used to drive me crazy, of course, as a kid, not wanting to have to pick up and do things, but, it was going to be a clean house. And she would sew our clothes, but it's like she would make new outfits for my sisters and I. My brother got to buy stuff because he had boy clothes, but she made us all of our clothes. And yet she didn't make new clothes for herself. So again, that idea of, being that she's sacrificing, that she's being a martyr, for the rest of it. But then I think that I've kind of come around to a place where I see it not so much as a martyr sacrificing, but as someone who wanted to make life the best for those that she loved. And it has a much nicer tone to it when I think about it like that than when I think about it as a martyr. I also celebrate my mother for passing along the importance of being curious, of wanting to learn. She was very specific about that, to utilize the dictionary and to utilize the encyclopedias. I mean, that's what she would have you do on a rainy day. Go get the dictionary or go get the encyclopedia and just open it up and learn something. So, to be curious when you open it up and you don't know anything about what this is, and so you get to learn something new. It was a great gift that she gave me. She gave me the gift of loving nature. It could be anything from feeding and listening to the birds to she also liked to dig in the dirt with flowers. So I couldn't escape it. I was going to be a digger in the dirt from one parent to the other. They made my childhood easier. I would not say that I had a difficult childhood, and I'm really grateful, to my parents for that. And I remember them and honor them for what they went through and how they gave to me and my siblings. And I'll never, ever forget my big sister Marilyn. There's a picture of her over here, along with my mother and my brother. My sister Marilyn, she was almost like a second mother in a way, because she was 7 years older than I was, and so she was, off she graduated from college and was married and stuff. But, she would send me little packages and things and call me up and just check and see how I was. She was the first person that I honestly believe loved me unconditionally. I had no doubt that she loved me unconditionally. She had seen me in many ways that would be hard to love, but I could just see it in her eyes when she talked, when she looked at me and when we talked. I could just see that there was no judgment there. It made me feel worthwhile. And I will never forget her. If there are other things, but that is the thing that I always remember, is how she loved me unconditionally, and how I can, in turn, provide that to somebody else, to love unconditionally. Outside my family, one of the people that, when I was thinking about this, that I had to be sure to include was my 11th grade English teacher, Sylvia Maxwell. I loved English, so I always really put a lot of energy into English. And she was young and very cute, by the way. But she recognized, I think that she really recognized in me that I was a teenager in angst. And that what she did was she encouraged me from when we would hand in papers and stuff, and when she would give them back, she encouraged me, what she would write, encouraged me to put down my feelings, to write my feelings out as a way of coping with them and, dealing with them. So good old Sylvia Maxwell. I remember Nathaniel Jones, and I honor Nathaniel for becoming my friend and helping me to see somewhat. I know I could never fully understand, but Nathaniel gave me a glimpse into what it's like to be homeless, but not hopeless. That was such a gift, to see somebody who had, he had so little, and yet he still got up each day, and he smiled, and he made me feel good. So I appreciate Nathaniel, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to know him. And those of you who've been around here for a long enough time, I remember Pat Hewitt. Pat was a long-time fixture here in the congregation. She used to sit right over there on that pew on Sunday mornings. And Pat helped me to see that you can live your life on your own terms, that you can be who you are in spite of the pressures that come from the outside, that to maintain your integrity as this unique individual And I have to say Pat was definitely one of those, and she didn't apologize for it. Though I appreciate her courage and learn from that. I remember and honor Robert Stewart. He modeled a sensitive, caring man who loved to hug and make you feel good. Robert was almost effervescent. That's kind of how I think about Robert, and how his smile and his warmth were infectious. And I can look out there and I see you smiling. Those of you who remember had those experiences with Robert. And I think he was one of the best men that I've ever known. And I love the fact that I had the opportunity to really see strong men coming here, to the congregation, men who were loving and kind. And Robert was certainly the epitome of that. And also a great volunteer. He could make things happen if he put his mind to it. So I know it's going to be wonderful having the amphitheater over here named after Robert. Very meaningful. I remember and honor my friend and mentor, Reverend R. Lanier Clance. Lanier also tweaked my curiosity and encouraged me to think with his Sunday messages. They were always thought-provoking. Sometimes it was just trying to understand what he was saying, because you could be halfway through the week, and then all of a sudden it'd be like, oh, that's what he was saying. That's what he was talking about. But these gems of wisdom that were just so basic, they weren't. It wasn't some kind of really difficult thing, but it was just teaching you how to be a better or a more authentic you, and being in the world with community and what that meant. I appreciate the fact that he saw that I had a real desire to serve, to be of service. So he invited me to be in his ministerial training program. And for 3 years, I listened and learned from him and read and discussed, and was able to feel very good about asking the congregation to ordain me. And so I have been because of Lanier, I have been the ordained minister of the First Existentialist congregation for 32 years. So this it's hard to believe, 32 years. I can't be that old. So I remember these that I mentioned by name, but certainly there are many others that that had an impact on my life, that were helpful in navigating all the pressures and stresses and things of today's world. Remembering the many examples that we have of women and men creating and problem solving, overcoming obstacles and building a strong foundation, savoring life and caring about others. Those are the people that we tend to remember. Who do you remember? Who throughout your life when you stop and think about those that have had an impact on your life, those that you will remember, not forget because of something that they did, some way of being in the world that impacted you. I'd like to just take just a couple of minutes to close our eyes and just to think about those that you're remembering today and honoring. Now I'd like for you to call out those names. Just call out the names of some of the people that you've been thinking about. Like Lanier Clance.
Robert Stewart. Glenn Lopez. Dave Raleigh. Robert Hayes. Marsha Gardner. Leslie Diamond. Francis Otis. Laura Truman.
So as you go through the rest of the day, then I'd like for you to, think about those that made an impact on your life. Maybe you learned how to cook, or you learned how to drive, or you learned how to paint, or to balance your checkbook. Who taught you ethics and love? Hopefully you will come up after the service and look at the table for the pictures of people that will be remembered. And you might, if you're standing next to somebody, just point out your person and say something about them. Just share a little bit. We have a new Book of the Dead, but I wasn't able to find it to bring it up. But we're going to have the Book of the Dead out so that during when we're doing the silent time and lighting candles, if you want, you can write in the Book of the Dead. It'll probably be over there in that window. So remember that nobody is really gone as long as we remember and honor their name. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Smile because they were in your life, even if it was just for a brief time. Cicero said, "The life of the dead is placed in the memory of the living. Let it be so." Thank you.